I'm taking the wheels off and then dropping the shocks. These are the reinforcement plates I had a problem with last time. The one on the left is for the front and the one on the right is for the back. I know this for sure because when I've tried to place the front ones in the back, they don't fit. No matter which way you put them, they're not going to fit in that hole. I'm putting the shock back in place with the reinforcement and then putting the weight of the car back onto the shock. As the car's weight settles down, you can see it's pushing through and kind of bending into shape. There is still a gap there, but not too bad. I decided to torque up the nut, and when I did so, it snapped off. I've lost all confidence in these aftermarket mounts. This snapped off at less than 7 foot-pounds of torque. In that short amount of time, the plate already bowed into shape. I'm going to have to use some older mounts that are in good condition. I'm just doing a test fit here. And now attaching the recovered mount and just looking for clearance. Underneath looks fine and it looks flush to the car. I've replaced all the mounts with good second-hand ones, but the plate just doesn't want to fit. So I flipped it around and sure enough it goes in the holes. It just wasn't lining up in that particular direction, so each plate will only fit in its correct hole. I'm putting the car on the ground now to get some weight onto the shocks and bend those metal plates, and a little bit extra weight in the front as well. With the plates in place, the original shock mount only has about 2 threads there, and the aftermarket one has about 3 or 4, and that's only using 1 washer. The original press stud protrudes to about 13.8. The aftermarket one protrudes to about 15.7. The original press stud is 18.3, and the aftermarket one's a little bit longer at 18.9. I did manage to find some larger aftermarket press studs. This is an 8mm one and it fits in the hole quite well, as I've done a test fit here. I just could not find any press stud that was 6mm, so I was looking at this as an option. It's not bad, it's high tensile, but nothing's holding it in place, and of course just a normal bolt as well, but wasn't really good enough, so I'm going to go with this one. The plates will also now need to be drilled out to fit the new stud. I ended up drilling the hole at 9.5mm and just popped out the old studs from the old base. And then a smaller size on the mount itself because I have to press the studs in. Drilling the top of the mounts, pressing in the studs, and then mounting it to the top of the shock. And now to install the shocks with its new stud sizing. It fits really well, so I'm just going to install the new washers and nuts. And now to torque everything back up, and this time it's not breaking. I'm also thinking of making some kind of ring mount that will fit on top of here. Not this thing, but something that looks like that and it will attach to these bolts. I also thought I'd better test fit this plastic piece and make sure it fits, and sure enough I got clearance, which is great. If you remember earlier, this clutch slave hose on the 5-speed doesn't fit a 4-speed body. Here's one in a 4-speed, it fits a lot better, there's less of an angle. There is another option. This is a 4-speed and I could change this mount type onto the 5-speed, it will fit, but I want to keep it as a 5-speed original. I just could not find a hose that would work, so I actually got this piece custom made from an old one they had. As you can see, it looks the same. Now this piece here will connect to this other piece, which is also too long, but I've got really limited options what I can do here. As you can see, if I put it next to each other, I'd like it to about that length, but that's really too short now, and there won't be much flexibility to move around. And this piece here is also a little bit longer, so it gives me even less room and even less clearance, so short is not necessarily going to work. As I had all the parts anyway, I decided to give it a go and cut a short piece of hose to see how it would fit, and as you can see, it's just way too short and it wouldn't bend at this radius anyway, and there's no flexibility at all. The original one is 250mm long. I'm going to have to make one longer to get the bend radius correct as well. So I attach the hose onto the end of the adapter here, and I'm going to flick it around this way instead. So it's going to go backwards and then go forwards to make it back to the actual mounting point. And should look something like this when done. So I now have my custom hose back. It's been crimped, it has a really good bend radius as I'm using a stainless steel braided hose, and it's tested up to 3000 psi. Attaching the hose to the clutch slave and then feeding it back around the top near the tank there, and then mounting it in place so it doesn't rub. Now attaching the hard line to the slave hose, and you can see it's all in place, nothing's rubbing, and it should work. I've done a deep clean of the column stalks that I had in stock. These are some old ones that I've taken off a wreck some time ago. This kind of semi-permanent paint is really a blackening paint for plastic. It's not a permanent solution, but it's a good solution seeing I haven't got a spare that looks this good. It's now been 1 week and the paint has dried. You can see it has a nice gloss to the paintwork. You can't seem to buy this stuff anymore. It was made by Turtle, it was called Jet Black, and I can't find it anymore, and that's all I have left. So I really would like to find some, but I can't. But next time, I install the amplifier, assemble the fuse box, and fill up some petrol.